What's going on, guys? Well, I'm hitting a stopping point with the GSXR 750. I am in the process of an extraction and installation of a full M4 exhaust. Here's our stock components. You got your stock can, got that titanium looking nice and pretty. Too bad it's out of here. You got your butterfly actuator, an oxygen sensor, and of course that big old heavy stock exhaust with a catalytic converter. Anyway, at a bit of a stopping point here, what I wanted to do is bring you guys along for the ride, show you guys what I'm up to with this thing, maybe give you some tips and tricks along the way if you are tackling this on your own. So let's dive into it. Okay guys, so I'm not gonna try to turn this into a how-to video. If you're thinking about tackling a project like this, chances are you've done it before and you know what you're up against. About the only trick to this is on the fairings. Remember that you do have a male-female connector here and tabs. This thing is gonna feel like it does not want to ever let go. A lot of times it's the tabs that are holding it in. The male-female just pops right out. Just make sure that when you pull on the fairing up, don't twist it because you can end up popping that plastic. Try to pull it straight up and back and it should pop right out. All right, so as for the extraction of that insufferable bastard right over there, you don't have to remove your radiator, but you do need to disconnect it at its mounting point. So if you look down here, right where my finger's pointing, right here, there's a mounting point here. There's also a corresponding one on the other side. And then, of course, you've got the one that's right here at that bracket. Now, a couple of things. Right now, it's loosely mounted just so I can move the bike around, but you're going to disconnect that, put a towel down here to protect the front of the radiator, and maybe a towel behind the radiator so you don't gack it up too bad as you're moving things around. This thing will just kind of hover in space. Let me show you something. Okay, over here on the right-hand side of the bike, with the different hoses, it's just going to kind of hover around. The main thing that you want to do is make sure that that steel bracket right there you go, right there, that lower bracket, that it's not gacking up all the aluminum on your radiator. Just be mindful of that as you're scooting stuff around in there. But with the radiator out of the way and dangling, you can get in here and get to all the bolts that are holding that exhaust on. Just know though that some of them can be a little on the tight side. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So the factory exhaust is held on in the normal way with these little clamp things that are bolted to the cylinder head. And typically these things are just slightly curved. Well, whoever was putting mine together was definitely having a rough day, and they bent, and these are heavy duty too. These are heavy duty steel clamps. They torqued these things down. I mean, absolutely put all the wrist into it, right? So anyway, mine were incredibly tight. The outer ones were pretty easy to get to. The center lower bolts were pretty tough. Eventually was able to get them out, but they were so tight, guys, I thought I was going to be taking threads with me. Not kidding. So here we go, guys. The M4 uses a spigot style instead of the clamps around the pipe type deal that the factory comes with. So it's going to be far easier to install the aftermarket exhaust than it would be to either reinstall or remove the old exhaust. The radiator will still have to be unbolted. It'll still be dangling around covered with towels and everything, but it'll probably take me a fifth of the time to install that exhaust that it did for me to remove it. All right, next, we're going to go ahead and throw that factory exhaust on the scale, and it is right at 15 pounds just for the header and the catalytic converter. Yeesh. All right, let's keep going. All right, so the factory can, what is that? Just the other side of 5 pounds. God, I thought titanium was supposed to be light. Anyway, there's your over 20 pounds already. All right, guys, so the rest of the miscellaneous stuffs that I've removed, not including the bracket, which is still on the bike, that is, what, a couple of pounds right there? So you're looking at about 22, 23 pounds worth of weight off of the bike. The M4, I believe, weighs about 10 pounds, so saving around 12 to 14 pounds on this install. And yeah, just like you guys, I use Ziploc bags and zip ties and Sharpies. Got to have these in your toolkit. So anyway, make sure you keep everything organized and separated. All right, where were we? Oh yeah, so we've got the G2 quick throttle installed, which is nice. Of course, got everything safety wired because I'm kind of a fiend for goofy stuff like that. Anyway, this motorcycle has a secondary throttle actuator. See if you can see down in there. Is that pulling up? There we go. You can see the butterflies opening. Over here might be a little bit easier to see, maybe not. Anyway, those top butterflies are your secondary throttle plates. Your primaries, the ones you actually control, are right below them, and you can see the cam that's actuating that moving right there. So that's your actual throttle body, and then the computer controls the top throttle bodies. So that's why you still have to have throttle control tuned on these bikes. It's because you still have an ECU controlled butterfly. And that's where the quick throttle comes into play. So not a whole lot of side-to-side play. I'm running 2 Duralin bushings on this one. I'm hoping to have a full install video for you guys here within the next month or two on one of these G2 quick throttles. But the main thing is that on this particular bike, it's going to shorten up the twist by almost 10%. It's a 40 millimeter turn or 40 millimeter pull for that throttle with the G2. On a GSXR 600 or 750, the factory is just the other side of 43 millimeters, so it's a long pull. To put that in perspective, the GSXR 1000 is only 35 millimeters. Now, it's the same throttle tube, but remember, this is a full electronic throttle system, so you're only turning a cam on a rheostat, and so it's a little bit different the way it works mechanically. Well, it works the same mechanically, but it's only actuating an electronic throttle, electronic component instead of the actual throttle blades themselves. So anyway, same throttle tube, but this is only 35 millimeters, whereas that, even with a G2, is 40. But if I'm being totally honest, it's really difficult to tell the difference between the two, but it is noticeable having that 3 or 4 less millimeters of turn. It just, when you're going into wide open throttle, try to illustrate this, going into wide open throttle, instead of being all the way, way back here, it's just about right there. So not a big difference, but it is a difference when you are really trying to pour the coal to it. Oh yeah, top tip. Okay, so this is the tube or the hole for your PAIR system, your secondary air injection. I did do the marble mod on this bike. So block this off. That's going to your PAIR system. Do not block these off. These are your breathers. If you block those off, your crankcase can't breathe and you can build up pressure and you can damage some components like seals and things like that. So always leave those open. This is going to be your secondary air injection, and that's where you're going to do your marble mod. Now, on this bike, you just need to make sure that your ram air tubes are seated after you've pulled this thing up, moved it around, and jostled it around. And make sure that when you are looking down in there that you don't see any daylight. That's going to mean that you just need to go back, maybe drag this back a little bit, move these couplers around, make sure that everything is sealed up so that you get your full ram air effect and not just a fresh air effect. And I guess last but not least, this is a California bike, so it does have the charcoal canister set up and the purge valve. I'm not removing that from this bike, not unless Two Wheel Dyno Works says I absolutely have to. It's super easy to remove. I don't know, it's a quirk of the bike. It's a California bike, and I don't know. It's a unique feature on the bike, and I kind of didn't want to remove it. It doesn't weigh anything, so there's no real benefit to it in terms of power or weight savings. And it's not really in the way of anything. It's not cluttering anything up, and I'm not going to gain any storage area by removing it. So I guess I'm just going to leave it there unless I just absolutely feel like removing it or I'm told that it would be better to remove it. But yep, there you go. Oh yeah, so look, here's the plug for your O2. It's conspicuously sticking out right here on your harness. And this is the plug for that butterfly actuator. Again, real easy to get to. The actuator on these bikes is right here on the right-hand side of the frame rail. All of that is super easy to come out. Again, look, if you're going to tackle a project like this, you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. You'll be able to walk yourself through this pretty easily. I'm going to have a more in-depth installation video. That'll be, at the time of this video at least, that'll be in a couple of weeks, I guess, is once everything decides it needs to show up. I will get that put out there for you guys. But I'm going to get back to work on this thing. I need to clean it up. If you made it this far into the video, consider hitting that subscribe button and that like button. It helps me out a ton. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and check out. Y'all take it easy.